up, what up, what up, what up? It's your favorite podcast, Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. I'm joined with my two great co-hosts, Byron Evans, a.k.a. Buff, and you know him as Orazio Mancarella. Byron, tell him what you think.
Right now, man, I'm just very happy, man, with the feedback and the engagement we're getting on our social media platforms, with the listens we've been getting. So I'm just happy about that. And something I know Razi can expound on, I'm a little sad that Disney decided to part ways with Sony and Spider-Man is on his own again. We ain't got to talk about that, but I wanted to sneak that in last week and didn't get a chance, and I'm a little sad about that.
Man, you don't understand how sad I was. It's so funny listening to the nerd community that I'm a full-fledged member of talk about this. You know, the who to blame, talk about, was it Disney's fault? Was it Sony's fault? And I'm on Team Disney. I'm not going to lie. I don't care how much they ask, because truthfully, when it comes down to it, Sony sucked when it came to Spider-Man. I mean, they did an okay job. I'm not going to talk about the Raimi Spider-Mans and all that stuff, but they did an okay job. But you look at the difference in Far From Home and Homecoming and the original Spider-Man trilogy and stuff. It's far apart, man. So Sony needs to figure it out. I don't care if they got to just, give them $15 billion, Disney buy them, do whatever. But Spider-Man needs to come on home, back to Disney.
That was a big deal when he appeared in the MCU, man.
Yeah, it definitely was, man. That made it complete, So what are the chances we're going to see it then reconcile, Razi?
I think they'll figure it out, truthfully. I think Sony understands. I mean, they made $1 billion off of Far From Home. I mean, that's nothing to shake a stick at. They don't want to give that money up. So, to walk away from that and go back to making $300-400 million off of a Spider-Man flick, where they can make that
$400 million.
Yeah, but if they can make $500-600 million off of a 60-40 split with Disney, they still come out on top. So I think they're going to go back to the drawing board and they'll figure it out and get him back in. It's just, I think Sony's just playing hardball right now.
Well, I'm going to let you know this. We don't play hardball. We got bills to pay. So we're going to go ahead and drop this commercial for you guys and let you hear what we think.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
All right, people, we're back. It's my favorite part of the show where we get to talk about what's going on in our world, what we think, and I get to pick my brother's brains. As usual, I will start it off. Man, where do I want to begin? I got a list of questions here.
What you got?
Well, you know what? Since we started talking about this, and for you all that don't know, my upcoming new favorite artist is Jadena. And he recently did an interview. I want to say it was the one he did on the Breakfast Club. And he talked about something we mentioned last week about masculinity. And he pretty much said, our masculinity is not being attacked, it's being strengthened by the empowerment of our sisters. And so they went on to talk about him and his love life and stuff like that. And it made me start thinking. So we're all married men and great monogamous relationships. And over the last few months, the last few years, I see not all, but several of my friends post these articles on how monogamy is unnatural.
Uh-oh.
And we are animals by nature, and polygamy is the way to go. So during Jadena's interview, he actually kind of hints on that. He hints on that it's unnatural for one person to want to sleep with that one person for a long period of time. But he found himself taking it a step further and getting into polyamory. So my question, fellas, even though we're all in monogamous relationships and we have taken that and ran with it, if you did not find yourself in a monogamous relationship, could you see yourself in a polygamous relationship or a polyamorous relationship? And for the sake of this show, polygamy, we're going with being in either a marriage or a relationship where one partner gets to have multiple partners, and usually that is the male. Mm-hmm. In polyamory, it's like a community of relationships where each partner has a understanding of multiple relationships and multiple connections with other people, but it's very open and truthful. So does anybody want to take that? So my question is, thoughts on monogamy, thoughts on polygamy, thoughts on polyamory, and if you were not, could you find yourself in either one if you weren't in your current relationship? Or if, hey, your wife said, hey, let's try something different.
Well, as far as, first off, when you mentioned masculinity, I know some of the fellas that's listening probably roll their eyes. Here they go again. They about the male bash. And so that's not what we're about, y'all. We just definitely want to point out our flaws. But as far as monogamy, I definitely agree with that it's not natural. That, I agree that we are naturally animals, and, our natural instinct is not to be with one person for the rest of our lives. That's why you have to work at marriage. You have to work at monogamy. You have to work at, being faithful and not putting yourself in bad situations. As far as being in one of the other two relationships, I'm going to go ahead and start with, polyamorous. That's definitely a no for me. That's a little bit too much bodily fluid swapping, if you will, for my comfort. So I'm going to pass on that. As far as with polygamy, my closest, I guess, idea to polygamy is, the show Big Love that used to be on HBO. And it sounds like a great idea, a man with multiple women. That sounds real player, like real boss. But a true polygamy relationship where the women, get equal say, and, the sister wives can team up and outrule you, and it's not that fun. It's really not. So I think, call me old fashioned. Maybe I'm just old because, I think 10 years ago, my answer probably would have been different to the polygamy question, but I think I'm good with the one wife. That's more than enough mood swings and attitudes I can deal with. So I'm good on that. What about you, Razi?
So you saying it's just age is what brought you away from polygamy, not necessarily, or is it just wisdom, I guess, that brought you away from polygamy? I think
we'll go with wisdom, man, because when you're young, you don't truly think things out. You just thinking, hey man, I could be like one of the rappers in the video, multiple women, but nah, I'm good.
Gotcha. Once you start getting old, you start saying no to sex. Think about trying to have sex with multiple women, like you got two wives to try to please. So now you're like, whoa, I got a headache 2 days in a row. Like,
well, in that polyamorous, if you don't want to do it, she has another partner across town that would gladly fill your place.
Yeah, Big Pokey is he's around ready. But for me, I really think, first of all, I do think monogamy is natural. There are plenty of animals that mate for life. So to go back to it just being unnatural, I think that is something somebody tries to use to make that case. But there are animals that mate for life that become, in a monogamous relationship, and that's it. And especially when you talk about sexual, like intercourse. So, and I think that's the other problem is people are looking to fill voids with sex instead of, like, you can have friends, you can have other people you talk to fill those other gaps of what you need in a relationship outside of just sex, and still be monogamous when it comes to a sexual relationship. So as far as me and the wife, I can tell you polyamory, polygamy, all that's out, because mainly I'm jealous. Like I don't think I could deal with her being able to go and lay with another man or you know, and then come back home and you know, kiss on me. I'm like, you know, I can't.
You just got your back blown out. I can't look at you.
Don't hug up on me. No, it was.
Oh, now you got it. Oh, now you got a headache.
So no, it was funny. I actually woke up this morning mad at Jenica because I had a dream that we were on a party boat and she was upstairs with some other dude. Like he had his hand on the small of her back, asking about, how happy are you in your relationship? You know, I woke up on my sleep. I looked at her. She was still over there sleeping in our bed, hugged up, cuddling, smiling.
Looking guilty.
The problem was, though, is I couldn't get that out of my mind. And I knew it was a dream. I knew it was fake. I knew it didn't happen. And I still was mad at her. Like, we were walking around. Now I literally was looking at her like, this mother right here, like the whole morning. And so there's no way that I would be able to deal with that, you know, if it was in real life where she was going out with somebody else and having that sexual relationship, you know, and she's got male friends and she goes out and she'll go to dinner with a male friend and stuff. And I'm cool with it, but at the same time, you know, it's a little bit in the back of my head, like, all right, is this going to go too far? And I'm worried. And like Byron said about, I need that rundown when you get home. Like, you know, even with the male friends that I know are just male friends, like I trust her to go out with them and everything. But I do want that rundown because, you know, I need my ego stroked a little bit at the end of it. If you're going to go do that, you need to come back and stroke my ego a little bit at the end. So that's my answer. No. You know, the short of it all.
I did not.
So maybe not for you, but do you understand?
I know that.
No, what?
That she goes on dinner dates with male friends.
So it's there's basically, it's like one friend that she's known for a long, long time. And he lives out of town. So when he comes in town, they go out and I'm
Stennis. From 20 years ago.
Yeah. Basically, Stennis is the big swole buff dude that come take your lady. It's an inside joke.
But he's a nice guy.
Yeah, sure is.
I know. It's like you don't even know how to be mad at him because he's so nice.
So before Ferg give us his answer, what are these faithful animals that you speak of?
I have to look them up. I mean, there's a few. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I know there are.
Well, clearly,
the Emperor Penguin
finishes his once he finishes his answer, I'll have your answer for you. Hold on.
Hey, Razi, look up the Emperor Penguin. I think that's one.
There are plenty of animals that are. I just don't think it's natural. But I think, Razio, you do what a lot of other people do when you hear that. People think that by me saying that's an excuse for people to go cheat. When I say it's not natural, I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm just saying it's something we have to work at. Like, if we took away our civilization as human beings, we would be savages. But we have, you know, air conditioning, indoor plumbing, and clean water and food to eat. So we don't have to be like on Lord of the Flies. But I'm telling you, if we took away a lot of our conveniences, we would be a lot different. And that's what I mean by natural instinct. And I just think you have to work at monogamy. So we disagree on that. Go ahead, Ferg.
And I can agree with you on that, Byron, that it might, because I don't think we'll ever know the answer to that. Is it natural or unnatural? I mean, there's always going to be two thought patterns on that, two schools of thought. And just like you said, it's something you have to continue to work at and not just work at, see the benefit of it. You know, if it's not worth it to you, then you're not going to really subscribe to that notion. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're already on the bubble and then you see all these articles saying that monogamy is unnatural and this is what you should be doing, you can look for an excuse to find a way out. And I believe it is hard. It's harder to be monogamous in any of these other, I'm not even say harder. I mean, because I think there's levels of maturity in all of them. So with monogamy, it's probably just the hardest because you have to stop giving in to certain urges.
Mm-hmm.
But for monogamy with me is similar to what Rozzy says. It's not even jealousy. It's a level of maturity for me or connection. We talked about sex a lot. Sex is huge, but I would never want my wife to have another connection with a man or anybody at that part, you know. With polygamy, I've seen several people, I mean, boast on it, and they brag about how great it should be and how our culture, we evolved, or not even evolved. We come from a lot of polygamous societies. You know, even Jadena said, I think his grandfather had 7 wives. He's Nigerian. And some people say that, especially as a Black man, if you can afford to have more wives and help provide a stable home for our community, there's a place for it in our community. So I get it to a certain extent, you know, but that's, you know, and that's in a culture where it's a lot of prearranged marriages, or there are certain systems set up. Like we were talking about gender roles. There's a lot of gender roles in that. You know, hey, I make good money. Instead of having 5 women out here competing for men, let me be that one man that can provide and grow my family, grow my legacy and stuff like that. And I see these women all having a place to help make that happen. But I think that's selfish, because in a lot of those situations, it's not equitable. I'm getting something out of it because I'm creating a legacy. My children are getting something out of it because of the finances and the stability. But the women get some probably satisfaction because of the stability, but that connection that they want or probably need isn't there. So polyamory came around because Jenna was like, more so for equitability, for us to be equal. I can't be out here doing my thing and lying to her or expect her to accept this without giving her the opportunity, because if we're equal and I care about her the same way, I wouldn't want to hurt her while she's sitting there waiting at home for me to do my thing, and I'm reaping all the benefits. She can't do her thing. So not even necessarily marriage. You know, I read an article a few weeks ago where they were encouraging women to date multiple people while they're young. Like, hey, why be in a single relationship? Go out and date multiple people, lay your cards on the table and figure out what you want. You know, you can start nixing guys. And that's kind of what guys do. You know, when I was young, you know, I would possibly be dating multiple people just because, like, nope. All right, you have a chance. Let me see where this goes. And men are okay with that.
But I think when they say dating, they're not saying have sex with. Like, that's the other part about it. When they say date, go and date as many people as you want. They're not saying have sex with all 7 guys, you know, 1 guy for each day of the week. Now, again, if that's what you want to do, no judgment there. I mean, you know,
I feel like there is some judgment because why clarify it? If I was dating or somebody was dating, a male was dating, he had sex with 7 girls in 7 weeks. In 1 week, that's almost pimp. You know, like he's figuring out what he wants. If there's a connection, like we'll make an excuse for him to do that, or we'll just say he's out here doing his thing and call it a day. But if she does it, you know, that's a whole other conversation, the double standards. But what it really came down to is him feeling that he needed to be fair to all parties involved. You know, I'm less likely to hurt you when I can be truthful with you. Like, hey, I'm not ready, or this connection we have is not enough to be just between us. I need something else from somebody else. And so while I'm going out there seeking, I feel it's only right to let you have that same right. And he was saying, like, his biggest hurt was knowing that a person he really cared about was out there with somebody else. And it made him kind of take a step back from that because he wanted to find that one true relationship, but he still doesn't even know if that's feasible.
It's funny, but that's in my opinion, that's when you know you're ready to be in a relationship. I feel like you can call it a relationship as a polyamorous relationship. No, we're dating. And so really that's how I always decided if I was actually going to get in a relationship with a girl, was when I saw her or I thought she was going on another date and I started to get jealous. At that point, I was like, all right, it's time to make her my lady because I don't want her to be with anybody else. So I think it's the next step or the progression in the relationship is we become monogamous because we want to be together and we don't want to be with anybody else. And so maybe that is just society and how we've been raised in our society today versus another culture. But that's kind of my progression or my check down on a relationship is, oh, you're going out with somebody else and I feel some type of way about that. All right, I'm ready to be in a relationship. Not to say you are. We need to have that discussion, but I know I'm ready now because I don't want you with anybody else.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have a point because society dictates it, but we all have young kids. Let's say we never put them in an environment where we taught them monogamy. You know, this is what your mother and I have, but we want you to go out there and find love the way you need to find love and make yourself happy. And when we say polyamory, we're not saying that they're dating 7, 8, 9, 10 people. It's just, it might be one other person. You know, it's just I have a connection with this person and that person. And together they make me extremely happy. And my girlfriend has a relationship with this other person, you know, and with all that we find time when she's not worrying about me because she knows where I'm at. I'm not worried about her because I know where she's at. When I don't have time, I know that she still has, you know, time for somebody else. I'm trying to understand it. I mean, I'm not there. I'm not mature enough. I'm very, believe it or not, protective of my wife. You know, there's two parts of me. There's the protector. If I could lock my wife in the house and let nobody see her so I would never have to worry, me. And it's to me like I have to let her have her wings and fly because I can't take her from the world. And, you know, when you try to cage that bird, that's when things happen. Yeah. So I guess not necessarily jealous of me, the selfish me, never. Well, no parts of me would ever subscribe to any of it, but it's just interesting because I think the world is changing and people are looking at different things, and just to hear people talk, because I hear polygamy talks way more now. And I'm like, is polygamy, if we're saying monogamy is unnatural and you're open to polygamy, I guess that's the best way. You have all these guys that are open to polygamy, but it's like, that works for you. If you're so open to multiple partners, why not let your spouse or girlfriend or whoever you're dating be open to multiple partners as well? So I think if you're open to polygamy, you might want to possibly look at polyamory as well. So
I can see that. And I don't want to have this as my actual question, but just to throw this out there as a follow-up, do you guys think that you can cheat non-sexually? So can you have a relationship with somebody else and be cheating on your wife or your wife cheating on you, but not be having sex with that other person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's that connection I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, that worries me more than anything else. That worries me more than a sexual cheat, because that'll probably eventually lead to sex or a deeper connection with sex. And that's scarier than a one night stand or whatever the case may be. But I definitely think that can happen. And that's something you have to be careful of, and on both sides.
Mm-hmm. So, because
wife thing.
That's what I was thinking. The work wife. I know a lot of guys that, or even a lot of females that, you know, they have that work wife or work husband, and they start to kind of have feelings for them, and they're sad when their work husband isn't there, and that type of stuff. And I feel like that's as close to cheating as y'all going and getting it on in the copy room. Like, it's the same thing to me.
Not quite, but yeah, I can say
not quite.
Yeah, I mean, there's levels to it.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Cool. Well, so with that,
next?
I'll jump in and take the next question. Let me go to my list real quick. Pop it out.
Is that a highlighter in your hand?
Huh?
Is that a highlighter in your hand?
No. See, I got it all listed out, and then I actually check mark when we talk about it to make sure that I know what we talked about. I had a couple different ones, but I think this is a good one because we've done it as this crew right here. You know, we used to when we were really coming up in our careers and stuff, we used to like chat our salaries to each other. And then when we got promotions and everything like that, and to like bump each other and push each other. And it was always, okay, I got to get like you. I got to get like you. And oh, all right, you're making that. All right, I gotta make some moves then to do that. And so it was a really healthy rivalry there. It was like us kind of pushing each other. And so what I wanted to talk about and get you guys' thoughts on is, can describe or can you talk about a healthy rivalry and what that means versus keeping up with the Joneses? Because there's times where that rivalry becomes so toxic that you start looking at it and it becomes jealousy, and you really start kind of looking at it like, I am jealous of this person, I'm envious of this person, and how to kind of balance that with your rivals. Because when I was a sales coach, I used to tell my guys, go find somebody that came in with you or that's doing really well. And then you should be looking at their numbers just like you're looking at your numbers, and you need to try to outperform that person. So you benchmark off of another person and talk to them about it. Be like, hey, you're my rival. Again, going back to my nerd culture, I'm a big nerd. And that's a big trope in Japanese anime, is having a rival. It's Kakashi and Guy Sensei on Naruto, like really nerd culture. So having that rival there. So I know y'all don't know who those folks are. Right. So kind of talk through it. Oh, you know about it a little bit?
Yes.
So just talk through that part for me.
So I think your question is, what are some healthy rivalries we've had, and when did we realize not to try to keep up with the Joneses? Is that kind of like the... Yeah,
just talk through that part.
So with us three, I got two examples for us personally. I know me and Ferg, we went to the same middle school, and we wound up being on the track team in high school. And so he and I, we push each other all the time. I don't know if you guys had like the shuttle run at PE or different sprints, but it would be like, hey, I got 7 points, such and such on the shuttle run. He go, and his behind would get the same thing. So like me and Ferg spent our entire middle school and maybe freshman and sophomore year trying to outdo each other on speed, but we were pushing one another. Like if he got a 4.0 40, I had to do the same. So we definitely pushed each other. And Rozzy, you and I would go like 3 months without even talking to each other. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, hey man, I just got a raise. I text you my raise. You're like, what? Okay. Because in a couple of months, I'm up for one. So we did that for like maybe 5 years, it seemed like, man. We would just randomly text each other. So I feel like that type of stuff is healthy competition. And it's good to push your friends, and you have to know your friends. And it's unfortunate because I'm sure have some friends that don't respond well to that. And instead of it pushing them, it turns into, so what, you think you better than me now? So, and that's not what it's meant to be. As far as learning not to keep up with I don't have a specific example of that. I just know, I guess for me, I can't even put it on because I'm so disciplined or I'm so smart. I just know if somebody has a Louis Vuitton suitcase, which probably costs $3,000, my bank account, I can buy that, but it's going to have to, I'm going to move around a lot of money.
Humble flex, people. Humble flex.
Super humble flex.
So I'm not going to do that. Or, okay, well, y'all call it a humble flex. Well, put it like this. If someone buys something that I know I can't afford, I'm not going to go do that because I have a daughter, I have a family. I can't put my family in jeopardy to go get this material thing just to look as great as whoever got it. So that's never been really a worry for me. But the healthy competition, I love it, man.
Well, healthy competition is my lane. I'm in sales, so that's the world I live in. But with you two, I think growing up, Byron said it best, like for years, if I lost every time I ever written down from 6th grade to call it 10th grade, and Byron still had his, I would know exactly what I ran. Because every time I kid you, and we be bragging. Like, let's say, I don't know what a shuttle run time was. Say we did 9.6 in 6th grade. And then he comes back and does a 9 flat. I'm like, man, Byron killed it. I gotta get it. So Byron boasting, and I'll run. I'm like, I gotta get it. 9.0 again. I'm like, man, I can't beat this dude. I can't lose to him, but I can't beat him. He was, but Risey and I were the same way in the Army. It was, we had PT tests. I think I might have one-upped you once or twice, though, Risey.
Man, it really came down to who did it first, right? So whoever actually did their push-ups first, the next person would come in. Oh, I did 108. Oh, well, let me knock out this 109. All right, I can get it.
Yeah. Literally, I remember we did one PT test. We both maxed it out, but he went first and did 108 push-ups. Because I think we did the same sit-ups. I think we come in on a run at the same time, but push-ups was where we had to break the tie. And he did 108. And I'm like, this dude, up until that point, he probably did 80 push-ups to max out. He did 108 in 2 minutes. This was like, okay, this dude just did 108 push-ups. I might have lost this one. And the powers that be were on my side that day. I did 109 push-ups. But it was always cool. But I think with rivalries, we can call it rivalry, but it's always motivation for me.
Yeah.
I think you always look to be motivated, and almost part of the reason I came to you guys for the show is you guys motivate me. I think we come from very similar backgrounds. We come from the same city, we graduated at the same time, family situation very similar, a lot of the same obstacles, and we've done well for ourselves. Some of us, got it quicker than others. Some of us were delayed. I know it took a long time for me to hit my stride, but even Risey being one of my closest friends, I would see him doing something. And there was a time period where there was like a huge pay gap, but it motivated me to know that I could get there. It was like, okay, if I'm making X and he's making Y, man, that's a huge gap between X and Y, but there's no reason I can't do it. I know I can do it. This dude came from the same place. It's not unattainable. Same thing with you. You motivated me. Like just coming to your house, seeing like, dude, I can do this. And I think a lot of times when people don't have that rivalry, they set their bars low. I don't try to keep up with the Joneses, but I pay attention to my surroundings and I try to continue to motivate myself. It's like, you know what? I love my house. This is a great first house. Some of a lot of people in the circle I travel in have that next step house. I'm not buying it. I want to buy a new house to keep up with them. I'm like, you know what? It's attainable. And I would like to have those type things. Now, I'm not one of those people that's going to live outside of my means to say, look, now our houses match. We're in the same neighborhood and anything like that. But it reminds me or lets me know that there's more to the world than where I'm at. It keeps me going. I never want to stop, and I think that's huge. Find somebody that's going to motivate you. I try to grow my circle and take advice from people that either have what I have or have what I want. If you're not around people that motivate you, you might need to change your circle. Like if you're always the top of your circle, you can't learn anything or get motivated by the people that you're around on anything. It's not just necessarily finances. It could be the way they work out, the way they carry themselves, their relationship, their marriages, the way they raise their kids. It's all these things. Like, you know what? I need to take a step back and reevaluate and get it together because there's a better way. Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the things where we're struggling right now in our community is we don't have a lot of motivators or mentors that we can put our eyes on, especially growing up in some of these poor communities. Is when a lot of our doctors and key people moved out of our neighborhoods, a lot of our kids have nobody to motivate them. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. I hope I didn't go too deep or too long.
Nah, man, that's kind of what I wanted. Really the listeners, because I know those stories and I wanted the listeners to hear those stories of being motivated by your friends and being able to talk openly with your friends about that in your circle and being able to say, talk everything, religion, income, politics, taxes, all that with your friends. If you don't have a couple of friends to be able to really do this type of stuff with and talk about your finances, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get ahead in life. You got to be able to actually talk and motivate each other and say, I got that raise, I got that promotion. Come on, man, you could do it too. You know, and knowing your friend and knowing whether you can actually have that conversation, like you said, Byron, or is that going to shut them down? So knowing that you don't need to have that conversation with them and figuring out how to motivate your friends. So, you know, if it's not waving, hey, I got my promotion, maybe it is waving, hey, here's this job that I found that might interest you or something like that. Here's this program that might interest you because I heard you talk about, you know, you might want to do it 7 months ago. And as a good friend, I kept that in the back of my head. This came up on my timeline and here is the program I just found and it's on sale for, you know, $100. That's the type of stuff that as a friend circle and that healthy rivalry you can start doing with each other. And like you first said, maybe it's not called a rivalry. Maybe it's just a partnership or friendship or whatever. But being able to actually have those people that you look up to. And so I almost talk about it's not keeping up with the Joneses. I'm trying to keep up with the Carters. Like I want Jay-Z's business acumen. I want to be able to say I'm doing all these different things. Now, maybe crossing the picket line on the NFL, probably don't want to do that one. But y'all can go over to Politically Entertaining. I think Byron talked about that a little bit. So shoot over to his other podcast for that one.
Appreciate the plug.
Yeah, got to plug with friends. See, that's what I'm saying. Healthy rivalry. There it is.
And I just want to say, like, to the listeners, and even with us, Ferg said we could be honest on this show. Not every friend you have is going to be 100% completely happy for you. And I want to get you guys' opinion on this. I don't think that automatically makes them a bad friend. I just think, you know, for some people, like you said, Ferg and Rozzy, we all come from the same places. So if they see you doing well, I'm sure a part of them is asking themselves, well, dang, you know, why can't I catch a break? What am I doing wrong? And so that's something they have to figure out within themselves. So they may not necessarily have the mind frame to be happy for you because they're so worried about themselves. So I know I see a lot of posts saying, you know, well, if people aren't happy for you, then write them off. And yeah, you can. I always like to look at the gray area in almost every situation, that sometimes things are more nuanced than that. That it's not that they're hating, you know, they probably want to be happy for you, but you know, it's hard to be happy when you don't know where your next meal coming from. You know what I mean? So, but definitely have some friends that will be happy for you, because when you get good news like that, when I used to text Razio and tell them about my salary bump, you want to share that with people you care about and that you know care about you. Like after you share that with your spouse and maybe your parents, your friends are the next go-to. So definitely have some friends that will be genuinely happy for you, because it helps, man. It really does. Like it made me feel good for Razio to be like, that's okay, I'm coming for you. Like that made me feel good. Even with Slim, we used to compare how much we had in our savings account. Like, yep. Yeah, I didn't hit, you know, certain amount of this. Oh yeah, okay, wait till I get paid. I'm gonna be there with you. So healthy competition is good, man, if you apply it right.
It's definitely a mindset too, so that, you know, you don't necessarily have to write them off, but you have to be careful what you share with them.
Yes.
And I think people have their place. Mm-hmm. You know, you have people that, you know, that you might help more than they help you. And you have people that vice versa might help you more than they help you help them. So, I mean, it took me a long time to hit my stride, and I've been blessed to have some great friends that helped me along the way, you guys included. And so there were many days where, you know, it's easy to be down on yourself, but I think it took the right mentality to look at it as motivation. And I think as a rival, like to be a rival, you have to be kind of in the same playing game, be in the playing lanes. Like you can't, college football is starting. Like when you're a rival and you haven't won a game in 20 years, that's not really a rivalry.
What was it? The Serena and the Sharapova or whatever.
Yeah, she's 14, 15 times in a row.
It's like 20-2. I think is the record.
Yeah, like we're this is not a rivalry. You get motivated to play me every year. I'm walking, I'm going through the steps. Like you're not even, I don't even consider you. So, and it might motivate you. A lot of things when I was at my low points, I just try to stay motivated, and it's human nature to be down for a little while, but at the end of the day, try to stay motivated. So,
yeah. Well, good stuff as usual, guys. I'll take us out of here with this last topic, man. So we all have kids that are in school or at least are about to start school. And I'm kind of going to do this one a little different because I'm going to give my answer first, but I'm mostly asking this question because I'm genuinely seeking advice because it's been one of my fears for a long time since Jasmine has started school. What are you guys going to do if your child has a bully at school? Because my first thought is if somebody picks on Jasmine, I'm going to try to be very diplomatic about it, go to the school, go through all the motions. But if nothing is done, I got a good mind to put hands on the parents. So since your child don't want to leave my child alone, let me show you let me show you what she's going through. That's probably not the best way to go. So how would you guys, you guys are more, I would say more reasoned than I am at times. So, Razi, if Ali or Sophie, Ferg, Sky has a bully at school that's like legitimately picking on them and making life miserable for them, have you guys thought about how you're going to handle that?
I have, but it's still hard. I'll give you a perfect example. Haley called me, I think last year, and she was like, "Daddy, I need you to teach me how to fight." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "I think some girls want to try to jump over me, and I need you to teach me how to fight."
Jump?
Yeah, she thought she was getting jumped. And so, I was like, okay, well, first of all, I'm 400 miles away from you or whatever it is between Mobile and Birmingham. So it ain't like I can really show you how to fight. But on top of that, I was like, you need to take care of the situation. And if it's, hey, you got to go to a teacher, go to the principal, whatever, you need to take care of that. But it had gotten to the point where she had basically been being bullied, or, this clique of girls was, and she has her own clique and her crew, whatever. And it was coming to a head where they thought they were going to end up having a fight. And I wanted to kind of do that same thing by it. I wanted to go and jump in and jump on the road and drive down a mobile and be like, hey, let's do this thing. And Allison was definitely ready to do that, right? So trying to keep Allison away was the hardest part. But I think you need to teach them how to handle the bullying, whether it's turning it around on the bully, reporting it to the teachers, everything like that, and handling it smartly. We talk about, you hear all the time about white people call the police, white people call the police. That's the thing, is we need to stop trying to take everything into our own hands and use the authorities like they're supposed to be used. And so if it comes down to, like you said, I've gone to the school, we've had conversations, we've had the parent conferences, and it's still happening, then I'm just telling my kids to get ready. I'm not throwing hands. I want you to throw hands. And if you get suspended because you had to throw hands because somebody kept talking about you, then it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go get ice cream on your suspension. I'm good with that. So if it's you defending yourself, I'm totally fine with you fighting. But I just don't, I bet you won't knock this off my shoulder, put the leaf on your shoulder, I bet you won't knock it off my shoulder type thing. Like, if they don't put their hands on you, if they're not threatening you to the point where you feel like they may hit you, then you need to learn how to do it or take it care of it in a different way. But you don't have to knock the leaf off the shoulder. I'm not telling you got to wait. And I don't care if my kids are the first ones to throw the punch. If they feel threatened, they're going to stand their ground. we ain't gonna say his name, but you know, they're gonna stand their ground, and I don't care if they throw the first punch. Truthfully. And we'll have that conversation on the back end if it was really warranted or not. But I'm going to teach them to defend themselves, however that means. So it's long answer, but
I like it.
I like it too. I'm glad you went first. It gave me time to think about it and how I want to reply to it. So I think there's a couple of things you have to look at. Bullying has definitely increased and evolved since we were in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So are we talking about physical cyberbullying? I mean, it's a whole new ball game these days. I mean, you have to be aware of what's going on as a parent to protect your kids as much as possible. I think you definitely need to, I don't know, I mean, this is 2019. By the time my daughter's old enough, we're talking about cyberbullying or something like that. Trying to keep her off of social media or anything that exposes her to adult situations or situations that she might not be ready to mentally or emotionally handle is something that I had to take, look at first of all. If she 12 years old with a Facebook and Instagram account and everything any little girl says is going to hurt her feelings rather than being 15, 16, maybe a little more mature, maybe a little more self-confident. But I think it starts with building self-confidence. Like, you have to build self-confidence. And you guys are pretty arrogant, so I don't think your kids have any problems with that.
Oh, wow.
Us.
But I think that's part of it. Also, I think proper training. Like, I really want my kids to, and I need to start back training. At one point I was doing Muay Thai and
Jiu-Jitsu.
I'm sorry, yeah. Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and just seeing these little kids in there, 5, 6, 7 years old who are getting properly trained, and they're confident in themselves, their situations, being able to handle themselves. So that, hey, daddy, this girl's trying to jump me. You're not really too worried about it. You're aware of your situation, but you're like, I really hope that it doesn't come to this, and I have to do something where I'm not worried about getting in trouble for fighting. I'm more worried about getting in trouble because I might hurt this child, like having them prepared. And I think that's a certain level of confidence where somebody's walking around talking about, I bet you won't do this. I bet you won't do that. And you're like, Lord, like, girl, if you only knew that if I put my hands on you, I could really hurt you. Same thing with my son. I want him to be completely trained. So I think that's one thing we have to do in this world is train your kids properly. It's a different world now. I mean, bullying is crazy, and not just for bullying. I think it's just self-confidence and being active. And I think that's one of the benefits of it. And just knowing the school's policy. I'm not above calling the counselor or the teacher or the principal, because if your kids are properly trained, you want to be able to say, I'm taking all the precautions, because once I let these kids go,
she's probably going to hurt them.
I can't be responsible for their actions. On June 22nd, I called you. June 24th, we had a parent-teacher conference. On June 28th, we did this. July 15th, my daughter broke your daughter's arm. Like,
that escalated quickly.
but if you keep, like, I've done this, and at a certain point, my child has had enough. Like you said, it doesn't even have to be that they feel threatened. They've had enough. Then I fully support them, because I want them to feel comfortable coming to me and letting me know what's going on. Yeah. It could be a spur of the moment thing, but I would feel way more comfortable knowing that, hey, my son and daughter came to me 6 weeks ago and we started addressing this, and you haven't done anything. Now we have a problem.
Mm-hmm. So I asked that, man, because my daughter, and I know everybody thinks their kid is like sweet, but she really is like a very soft-spoken, quiet kid. And I mean, she's the type that'll be watching a movie with me, and whenever the villain does something bad, well, why did he do that? And I'll be wanting to say, because some mother bleeping people are just mean, like she honestly doesn't understand the concept of people being mean for no reason, man. And I try to drill that home with her. So, like, the thought of somebody picking on somebody that's sweet, it enrages me. But I like your answers. None of them involve putting hands on the parents. So I will definitely remove that option. But, hopefully I never have to deal with it. But I know kids can be jerks. And as she gets older and closer to middle school and high school, it definitely could come up, man. So it's just always, I like to pick other parents' brains. So anybody that's listening, if you've already dealt with that type of situation before, you know us, we love hearing from you. So please, engage us on one of our social media platforms, man. But
Byron, we'll revisit that question in a couple of years when Sky gets of age.
Yeah.
She's only 4 now, so it's easy to say how I think I would react.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
I just want to say, I didn't say I wouldn't put hands on the parents. if that parent, that parent meeting goes a little left, then it may get to that. But I'm not going in with that idea.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Well, sounds like you might need to get back in some of your classes, Razi. Picture that. But speaking of Jasmine, dog, how is she dealing with that little girl that you took pictures of the other day, talking about first day of school?
Yeah, jerk. That was her.
That was not Jasmine.
She has grown up, man.
The Jazzy I know is about
like a little something.
7.
She's 10.
Pigtails.
Turns 11 on Halloween. She's a Halloween baby. So
yeah, I know that. So she'll be 8 this year.
Listen, nobody wishes she was still a baby more than me. And she tells me, Daddy, I have to grow. I can't help it, but I'll still always be your baby. And that makes me feel good. But she still doesn't let me give her public affection in front of teenagers because teenagers are cool and public affection is not cool. So I cannot do my public affection in front of the cool kids. So that's where we at right now.
Just get ready. Just get ready for college. I'm in the same city with Haley, and I can't go and visit her on campus. I'm literally 7 blocks from her all day long, and I can't go visit her on campus. So
I'll meet you off site somewhere.
Exactly.
Well, that's how you get cut off.
3 blocks from the dorms. Like, you can't come to the dorm.
I'm giving gift cards. If you want my money, you get a gift card. You need to come see me. I'm standing here I'm on the quad. With a shirt with your picture on it. So
listen, man, as y'all can tell, we always having fun with this. I can't say it enough. I've said it like quite a few times now. We are completely grateful for you guys listening and checking us out. The feedback on like Facebook and Instagram has been great, and we definitely appreciate it. And as we continue to ask, please share the podcast on your page on social media. Verbally tell coworkers, cousins, aunts, nieces. We good to listen to on a road trip, whatever, man. Just
play cousins, everybody. Let's do it.
Yeah. Help spread the word. But we definitely appreciate you guys.
Yep.
Definitely,
3 brothers, no sense.
We really appreciate you. Keep listening to us. Keep sharing. Throw out topics. I mean,
yes.
Part of the highlight of my week is just to see what our listeners are saying out there. I get excited every time I see a new post and the interactions with you guys. So we really appreciate it. Thank you for your support.
A lot of feedback on that Black women. What was it? Black women helping broken men. So,
yeah, don't worry, fellas. We got something for you guys coming soon.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're not going to always keep it that way. But once again, no, Razi, you had something you wanted to share, man. I don't want to leave without getting that tidbit of information.
That's right. Byron, on the last episode, we talked a little bit about paying for college and not having so much debt. And I was talking about there's a lot of scholarships out there for folks. So there's this app that I actually found out about watching Shark Tank, of all things, called Scholly. And so there was a little kid, wrote all the algorithms to consolidate all the available scholarships out there. And it actually goes through, asks you a bunch of questions about yourself, and it matches scholarships that are out there to you that you actually qualify for. So, go out, download Scholly. And I think it's in the App Store, and look through there, just fill out your profile and check out what's out there and start writing for those scholarships. A lot of them open up around I think next month, September, October timeframe, and some of them are due, by March, April, so that for the following year. So you really got to think through a little early if you want to start writing for these for the 2020 school year. You got to start this early.
Scholy. So
Yeah.
SCHOLLY.
SCHOLLY.
Don't worry, Rising, can you do me a huge favor? When we drop this, can you put that link to the app on our page?
Yep, I got you.
Appreciate it. Well, once again, I want to thank my co-host. One of my favorite times of the week is to sit down and talk to you guys and pick your brains. As usual, this is Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg, with my co-host, Byron Evans, a.k.a. Buff, Orazio Macarella. Orazi, you're listening to Three Brothers No Sense. Thank you for listening. Check you out next time.
Peace. For the record, I'm not Buff.